Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello.
Nice to meet you
See,
all.
Wudijo, could you instantly screen share just so I can set up all the frames with that?
Sure. I could just turn on screen share.
Like screen, whatever screen you want to do.
Well, let's go do this is my desktop right now. So that works.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, how's everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, great. I'm just like very stressed because last minute like guide writing and videos and all that stuff. It's going pretty crazy right now. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bet.
but
I'm glad to see that there's so much interest as well from the PoE blasters. I gotta say. So kind of cool that you reached out and like we can sit down. I think it's quite exciting to see some of you guys being on D4.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
who's the main like D3 racers? Like who do you think from like of the ones you already know that are going to be the most competition?
Well,
he wants to
mean-
know who we're gonna beat, basically.
yeah. Well, I mean, of course, like
You
I
can
was,
say
I was also
yourself.
going to
It's okay.
try to race and
Yeah.
of course now with the early access it's like not really so like the same thing, but of course I'm gonna try to go fast and want to be the first anyway, so just because that's what I do. So yeah, that's basically me. I guess like there's gonna be like a bunch of Maxwell guys, you have seen the guides, I guess, or the website, and most of them are also big blasters, from D2, from D3, and they're gonna race for sure, like on softcore though, mostly, I think. So on hardcore, I'm not really so sure if there's really gonna be like, the big names really popping off. I don't think so, actually. There's like barely anyone that I know will go hardcore. So we'll
Right.
see.
Nice. I'm just setting up the frames here. So much to do.
Yeah, I'm
So
tempted to start.
how
Oh, go
prepared
on.
are you guys, by the way? I've seen Steel in the beta. We killed Ashawa together. It was funny. But I mean, like, have you guys also been like prepping hard and all that? Like, how's your plans in general?
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't play, but I spent a lot of time just checking
Yeah.
what would be the build. But
Yeah, guys.
all paths led to one singular build. So
Yeah, I'm not too prepared. I'm just like me and Steel are most likely both playing Sork, so I'm just gonna
Use
look
the
at what he's
bend.
doing and just blast.
Was I doing homework for 2 people? Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And like nobody's like I don't even have to change anything. I can literally just steal it. It'd be beautiful. No
I'm
plagiarism.
so sad. I was so sad what they did to Thorns, man. Like, why did they do that? That was really sad.
What?
I want
What?
to play
What?
Thorns. What they did to Thorns, I was really sad.
You have to play Thorns, or what is that?
No. What they did to Thorns was really sad.
Oh, what they did.
Now
Oh.
you can't. Yeah, now you can't.
Well, I mean, there is a unique for Thorns, and I think that
Yeah,
Thorns can
but-
still work on Barb. I mean, they nerfed it really hard in the early game because everyone is using Thorns.
No, I think the game is still fine actually.
Yeah.
I think it's just like in mid game, maybe late game is gonna be kinda because I checked, there's like nothing. There's no glyphs, no paragons, nothing. There's like absolutely nothing that helps you.
Yeah,
scale
that is
Thorns.
true. I mean, you just have like generic damage bonuses that you can try to scale with Thorns.
Exactly.
I actually did
Yeah.
try it on my Rogue. I'm not sure if I have like the clip now somewhere in my recordings. I actually did try some Thorns Rogue, just for the memes, and I found this unique chest. It has like, I don't know, like a 2,000 Thorns or something. So it's like a big chunk. And monsters were actually dying. They were hitting me and they were dying like at level 70, like in like 1 or 2 shots. So I guess there's definitely some potential for it, but you need like that unique and you need to like build around it, and maybe it's kind of okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like without the unique, I don't think there's any chance it's playable.
Yeah, I mean, are you a Thorns enjoyer or what?
Yeah, I mean, I played Thorns. Like, I remember when the first betas, I was trying like leveling on bar was like complete misery, right? Like early game, and I tried to find a solution to it, and the solution was Thorns, right? It was Thorns and bleed, like it just made sense. So like, because like you found yourself just auto attacking monsters one by one, right? Just to build fury, and you're getting pounded this entire time. So I was like,
Yeah,
maybe Thorns is the solution, and Thorns was the solution. But now,
yeah, for Barb it was huge.
yeah, like Thorns is really good. The beta, I think it's still fine though for leveling. I'm probably still gonna be Thorns for leveling. I think it's the best way to do it.
You sure? If we're grouping? If you're solo, I would agree.
I mean,
But for
because
grouping,
the
it
thing is,
seems
like-
very scuffed.
No, but the thing with Thorns, like, I think it's just a tool. It's not a build. You're not just, okay, I'm only doing Thorns. It's just a tool that you have on top of everything else. So, like, you play like anything. You can play Hora, you can play Rand, and then you have Thorns on top of it just to supplement clear. So I think since I'm gonna be playing Rand, I'm gonna have the most single target that I can have anyway. So
Nice. Okay, I think I've set everything up now.
Good. So,
see.
yeah, you see the screen, everything's working, all right.
Yeah, let me do a test. I'm gonna switch to your screen share.
Dude, your chat's calling me a shell because I took a sponsorship.
Which one?
Nvidia for Nvidia.
Wait, really? That's so cool. What is it?
Yeah. They give it's to do with Diablo. There's like a promotion for the new DLSS or something. I need to like read it a little bit more, but I saw Bagheera's doing it as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Congrats. I'm proud of you.
Oh,
Yeah, nice. What does that have to do with shilling? I mean, it's just like it's a
That's
normal,
a meme.
normal
Steel
sponsorship.
hates money. Steel like is anti-sponsorship. He's so bad
money's
at it.
evil. Yeah, money's evil. Yeah.
Very frustrating to deal with Steel.
Yeah, but
Right. I think we can actually start. The Steel's community has loads of questions prepped. They're ready to go.
Okay,
I just
yeah,
woke
perfect.
up, so I'm not as ready. But yeah, I'll do like a quick like intro, and then we can just start, just so I have something for YouTube. Actually, we'll do a mic check first. Karn, audio volume.
hello, this is me. Bone
Karn,
Zone.
good.
Hey, Goku, thank you.
I'll have Vero give a thumbs up to everything.
Sorry, did you talk to me?
Not yet.
Okay.
Karn's a little low. Okay. Okay, I turn Karn up. Try talking again, Karn.
Bone Zone.
Okay, I'm here.
I actually turned down Khan like massively.
Steel.
Nice. You're not the only one.
Cock. 1, 2, 3. Cock. Yep.
Turning you up 30%. Talk again.
Hey, Waggle.
Hi chat. How are you today? How are you, chat?
Good now. Okay.
Okay.
Video.
Yes, I'm here. And test 1, 2, 3.
How's that chat? Low. Okay. Up 30%. Try talking again.
Yeah, now again. Yeah,
Good.
by the way, the name is wudijo. It's not
Wudijo. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
All good.
Wudijo. Okay, cool. I'm terrible with names. Nugi,
Yes. What's up?
how's this volume, guys?
Louder.
Hello.
Okay, Nugi's just good. All right. Let's do it.
Perfect.
I'm going to start recording. Hi, Zizaran here, and today we are going to interview Wudijo, and I'm joined by 4 of my friends, and these are going to be, this is our group for the upcoming Diablo 4 race. We're going to try to get first level 100, and Wudi has said that he will help give us answers to questions we have for the race. So this is just going to be us like interviewing. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
Yes, hello.
Thank you so much for joining us, Wudi.
Yo.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Like, it's a really cool opportunity to just like hang out with you guys, and of course, I'm very happy that people are coming to Hardcore Blast in D4. So I'm gonna be there on Hardcore myself, and I'm very much looking forward to the launch, of course. And now after playing the game, maybe I can share you like a few tips that will help you. So let's see.
Yeah, I wonder how many people do you think are like how many people are expecting will be competition in the race?
I mean, the price that Blizzard has teased is definitely pretty cool, I think, with the statue. I think that definitely entices a lot of people to try hardcore right on the start when they otherwise wouldn't. So it's obviously like a pretty prestigious like goal or price to have, right? So I think that's pretty cool. And how many? I mean, I did a poll on my chat the other day, and 13% said they will play hardcore on launch, which actually I found pretty high. So maybe my chat is a bit more hardcore than the general public, I guess. But
Yeah.
I can definitely imagine there's gonna be a lot of people like
Awesome.
Maybe 5 to 10%.
Yeah, no, that's higher than I thought. That's awesome. Before we get into it, can you give like a quick intro of yourself for people that aren't familiar with the content already? Talk a little bit about your racing and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. So, hello guys, I'm wudijo, and I've been mostly blasting Diablo 3 for like the past decade. I have a YouTube channel, Twitch channel, etc. I have been producing guides basically since season 1 and trying to rank 1 on the leaderboards almost every single season. I've always been trying to push every single build to the maximum, so that's kind of the stuff I do. And I also have played tons of hardcore, both in vanilla, D3, and in Diablo 2 even, like back in the, like when I was way younger. And of course, in recent times in D3, in PoE as well. Actually, I also do play PoE. I have like 3,500 hours or so in PoE. So I'm a bow enjoyer in general, in all games. So that's usually the stuff I do. And yeah, now in Diablo 4, I've been prepping for this game ever since the announcement, like 3 years ago. I've been very hyped ever since I saw it for the first time, and basically been soaking up all the information I can, and you know, playing it as much as I could when I had the access, and yeah, making guides and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm very prepared for this launch, let's say.
How many hours did you get to try? Do you think the full early access stuff?
I played it for like 50, 60 hours or so. So it was like around 10 days of access, and well, I had other stuff to do, but I tried to play like, you know, as much as I could basically.
Well, what level did you get to?
I reached up to 80.
Nice. I think maybe I'll throw you to Steel. Steel's they actually got a link to the sheet. Steel's community has so many great questions, so we'll start with some of those, I think.
All right. Well, first question. This is not on the list as is.
Oh no!
Why did you put Rogue ahead of Sork? What's up with that?
Oh, I guess you're referring to my class tier list.
Uh-huh.
Well, first of all, I'm a Rogue enjoyer. I know that you're asking this question because you're a Sork enjoyer. Yeah, I just think that Rogue in general is like a pretty solid like mid-range class, and I mean so is Sork. I talked about it in my video that yeah, I have them like ranked as 3 and 4 kind of, but they are kind of like on an equal level, like, you know, close to each other, I would say. So it's like hard to predict really like which build in the end will like perform, you know, at an exact level. Like we don't really have benchmarks, so to say, like, you know, exact benchmarks of like, you know, how many hours does it reach to level 100 or something, right? So it was just mostly based on gut feeling. So I would also give Sork maybe the number 3 and Rogue the number 4. It doesn't matter too much.
That's what I like to hear. Yep. I'm just messing with you, but
yeah.
I had to, right? But yeah, so I asked my chat a bunch of questions because obviously I didn't want to just be the only one. Like I didn't want to bias my questions too much. I mean, it is going to be biased a little bit, but I wanted to give my chat opportunity to ask you a bunch of questions, and they delivered. There's like a million questions here. Right off the bat, though, we'll go with some group stuff because we haven't heard a lot about that. I feel like as much. Because obviously most people do play the game solo, but given that we are party play and there's less information out there, my chat was curious about like supports, for example. Like, do you think supports will be a thing in D4? Like, what kind of support builds have you heard of from the press release? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely think that supports will be a thing at the very least for like organized teams. So I guess that includes you. You probably want to think about having at least 1 or 2 supports, I think, or at the very least late game. I think they're going to be very strong once they're like optimized and once they have like, you know, really strong like specialized damage dealers in your party. I think that a support or 2 can definitely make a difference. Personally, I have not really tried to make a support. I've just been like messing around with some group play here and there, but for the most part I was solo progressing. And we do have theory crafted like really powerful like support druid and support barb. So at least the druid I have a link to share if you need to, but for the barb it's basically like the shouts in general are just super powerful, and they buff everyone with like lots of damage reduction and damage and everything you want basically. So I think those 2 classes in particular can be quite an asset.
Just off the back of that as well, do you think there's any endgame content where it would make sense to be in a group, like world bosses, or maybe pushing the highest tier nightmare sigils?
Yeah, Nightmare Sigils are definitely like the hardest content. So by far, I think. Like if you want to push to 100, I think that's going to be by far the hardest thing you can do. Like world bosses, honestly, they are kind of a joke right now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see like a massive buff to world bosses at some point. Like if you are traumatized from Ashava in the beta or something, this is absolutely like reversed from like in the higher world tiers. Like I was destroying those bosses solo in like 2-3 minutes or something.
Oh,
So
no.
it was kind of a joke.
That's disappointing a little bit. Hopefully, yeah.
I mean, might depend on the build. I mean, I had a relatively strong single target setup, so it might not be as easy on any build, but yeah,
actually,
it wasn't really that hard, I feel.
Do you think it will get harder with more people, actually? Like, because I mean, maybe the bosses are easier solo or with less players than with like a party of 20 random people?
Well, I did
Maybe?
actually some research on that. So from the server slam, when we had the Ashava kills, I actually looked at my footage and I looked at my different Ashava kills and the kill times that it took. And I did have my solo kill and I had some other kills so other people were present. And it was always strictly faster when other people were there, even though I was probably like by far the strongest guy present. So it seems like it did actually not scale. Like the world bosses, at least, they do not scale, I think.
Yeah.
So in dungeons, that's different. Dungeons actually do scale. So this is where, you know, stuff gets hard. And also, especially if you want to do like a, you know, like a team run to like tier 100 or something. Yeah, like the dungeons do scale up. That's what we know. But I don't know exactly how much.
It's still more beneficial to be in a group than solo?
I mean, group play in general is really OP, yes. I actually wanted to release like a full video on like, you know, all the little tricks and all the exploits you can do, which I unfortunately have not done yet. Right. But in general, yeah, you can do some crazy shenanigans.
Yeah, but actually I was wondering.
Oh, go ahead.
Like, let's say you have like a very fast build that can clear dungeons so like very fast. Is it gonna be still better to be in group just because of the? I'm assuming the XP bonus is not that important that when you're like War Tier 4.
Yeah, the XP bonus in party is actually relatively insignificant. So I was a bit worried about this, but I've learned through the testing that the XP bonus is actually additive with other XP bonuses, including from the difficulty. So later on tournament, you get plus 200% XP, and then the 10% from party bonus is kind of whatever. And it's like, you know, you have to have 210 instead of 200 bonus, basically, then.
So it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do that much, but the strength of party it comes from other sources. So it's like
because you get more sigils, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have the sigils, first of all. You have, in general, you have a group composition, I guess, that, you know, kind of makes sense, hopefully. So this is number one. Just like we are more powerful because of supports or because you have like, you know, one AoE guy, one single target guy or something like that. As long as you move together as a team, you can like rotate, like, you know, CCs and damage reduction cooldowns and just like, you know, YOLO basically. So there are definitely these kind of things. Then of course it's like the exploration and the renown and the dungeon grind. You can actually like spread out and, you know, go to different zones, get all the waypoints, you know, share them to each other. So these are these kind of like indirect group perks that exist that really help speeding it up for the groups.
Okay.
And one important thing actually is what we learned. It's probably a major bug, but this is how it works. And it actually did work this way, apparently, even in like the open beta and stuff, so it wasn't changed. But for example, you can complete dungeons in a split farm group, basically. Like you can go into different dungeons and you can complete everyone completes one dungeon on their own and it counts for the entire party. It's actually crazy.
Wait, so you don't even need to be in there?
No, you don't need to be in there. You can be in another dungeon. You just get a completion. Like, yeah, this seems like a major bug, but this is how it works. So.
Wait, what? You get the codexes? You get the codexes too?
You get the codex, yeah. You get the renown, you get the codex, yeah.
Wow.
Wait, what? Walk me through that again. I don't think that really registered on me.
Okay, yeah, you make a party, you go to 4 different dungeons. Like everyone goes to their own, and they all complete for everyone when you finish them.
Well, this changes.
Yes. It changes a lot of things. Because I was actually thinking maybe it would be beneficial to like just maybe you do solo nightmare dungeons and then 2 level glyphs and then you just share. You know, like maybe one completes first and then everybody goes there, maybe gets the XP. I don't know if it works this way, for example. But
yeah, I think in nightmare dungeons later you can also do some shenanigans like kind of like leeching the completion for the glyph XP and stuff. So, for example, you can have like one guy kind of like, chill outside and come in later to just like, finish the boss and either get your glyph upgrade. That also works, I believe. So you can do that kind of stuff too.
Oh,
okay. All right.
That's crazy. Me and Steel yesterday were talking about, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but there was something about the, maybe you can explain it better, Steel, but the frozen thing, like if me freezing,
right.
activate, yeah.
Yeah, I think I already asked my chat, and I think they said it does work. But obviously, we know the fireball enchant works for other party members. If they kill, it will also explode because it cancels you killing it. I assume this also means that Ziz, using the Ice Shards enchant, if he uses his frozen orb, Frost Nova, will make my Ice Shards fly to him. Because I'm looking at playing the Ice Shard Sork, and then obviously Ziz will just run Frost Nova just for utility. So maybe he can sort of like chain the Ice Shard.
That should work, I think. I mean, I have not tested this interaction specifically, but the Ice Shard enchant says that it just like shoots at nearby frozen enemies. It doesn't really seem to make a difference where the frozen is coming from. But of course, these kind of interactions always have to be like, verified one by one, I guess. So I can't give like a general statement.
Yeah.
But it seems like generally almost everything just works in party play. Like, the fireball enchant, like life on kill even, I believe, and all that good stuff. Like you just get it basically, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I was kind of worried about this for like stuff like disembowel. Like if you get CDR on kill, stuff like that. I'm assuming it works like if anybody gets a kill, right?
Yeah, I think it works. Like you can literally just like as a support or something, you just like socket a skull in your weapon, you get like life on kill, easy peasy. Like, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to ask your questions, Ziz?
No. I'm mostly focusing on just letting you guys speak, and there's 5 of us.
Yeah, just yell at me, Nugi or Khan, if you want to chime in, because I have the list of questions, obviously. I know with our group, we were debating or not on running Rogue, and it's hard to tell. And just off the beta, we were kind of thinking it was like less tanky, like it was maybe a bit sketch for hardcore. So I guess just as a generic question, how's the class viability in softcore and hardcore? I guess more so hardcore specifically. And like, do you think? I mean, I know you're playing Rogue in hardcore on the launch. Like, so do you think it won't have problems like surviving?
I mean, it depends on like what exactly you're trying to do. It definitely felt like Rogue was tankier than I expected, I would say, in terms of like overall survivability. But like the points that I also made in my class video, like my tier list video, also holds true. Like Rogue is generally on the squishier side if you like don't have your defenses up, if you don't have your Dark Shroud up, if you don't CC enemies. You have to play around these kind of things to survive. This is just how Rogue works. So even though you can try to build it tanky, it's not like a bot that just runs in with challenging shout and you're chilling. So you have to play around stuff. So in general, it works, but of course, it's just a bit harder, I guess, on a hardcore Rogue than on, like, let's say, a Barb, I'd say. Just because of how the defensive mechanics work per class.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess just off the back of that again, just in general, like a hardcore discussion, because I'm not sure if you got to play or anyone who played hardcore in the press release, but do you know if there's still instantaneous logout, or if the devs have indicated if there's instantaneous logout, and how common are the cheat death elixirs, how rippy are some of the mobs in the rest of the game? Like, you don't necessarily have to spoil anything, but do you think there's going to be any like gotcha moments, like things like that?
I gotta say that hardcore generally feels like quite fair, I would say, in terms of like the difficulty feels like fair. Like when you go to higher levels and stuff, it kind of like scales up with you, and it gets like slowly harder, but if you die, it's usually to your own mistake, at least from what I can tell. So, in terms of hardcore specific stuff, like the elixir, the elixir seems relatively cheap. There's like only one component that you need to farm that is like relatively hard to get, which is the crushed beast bones. They don't drop that much, but you will be able to have the elixirs, like whenever you need them, kind of. Like you're gonna save up these mats over time, and late game when you actually start doing maybe like higher tier nightmare dungeons, or you start doing like some the Pinnacle boss or something like that, I guess you can definitely chuck those elixirs. And you will have them ready for that, basically, like just like save them up, basically. And
so interesting.
Yeah.
I really want to ask, I've seen a lot of the different videos and the guy pushing to level 100 and stuff, and it seems like he wasn't pushing to level 100 in the hardest content, right? So to put it in PoE terms, if the hardest content is tier 16 maps, when you're pushing to tier or to level 100, what kind of what percentage difficulty are you in? Is it like tier 11s, tier 13s, like that kind of thing?
I mean, I didn't do 100 because I mean 100 will be realistically almost undoable for almost everyone. So I expect tier 100, even on like a fully min-max super OP build, to be extremely difficult, mostly because of the lack of survivability. So you have only limited revives, or in hardcore you have only one chance. So stuff really starts hurting on the higher levels. And yeah, Rob, who has cleared it, I mean, he's a big blaster. I've actually played with him a lot in the past. He's like one of the biggest Diablo blasters ever, so to say. He knows what the hell he's doing, and was playing the best build in the game that is also completely busted through its unique. So, you know, this is kind of like to put it in perspective, you know, like a tier 100 is nothing that almost everyone here will ever clear, probably, at least not anytime soon, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Rob's video, it didn't look like that was his character was ready to do it in hardcore, for example. He was getting blasted left, right, and center. So
yeah, exactly. Like, even with like all the defense available, it's gonna be really, really tough to survive in those hundreds, I think. Like, I even had trouble. Like, I tried like a 60 or something on level 80. Of course, I was under level still. There was still a lot of power to gain and not super optimized. But even on tier 60, I was getting wrecked on my level 80 rogue. So, you know,
so that's what I mean. What kind of level do you think we will be doing?
Well, okay, I mean, the general farming is kind of like, the general farming is expected to be your character's level minus 50, so to say. So, for example, for level 80 character, you are expected to do something like tier 30. And then for level 100, you're expected to do something like tier 50. So this is going to be probably kind of like the T16 mapping, let's say, in PoE terms. Okay. And then, you know, there come another 50 tiers, basically.
Right, so it's basically Delirium.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you can probably compare it best to Delirium. Like, you know, like if you do like a tier 60 map is like the regular farming, and then you have like the 100% Delirium, it probably goes more in that direction, I would say.
Okay. And how often do you think there's going to be like things like on death effects, etc., that'll like really catch you out and you'll only recognize it after having died to it once?
Not really. I think that generally like this stuff is like very well telegraphed, and it's also like usually quite delayed. So you have like the elite affixes, like the molten and the poison enchant or whatever. So they have like some affixes, or I'm not sure. Are you sharing the screen right now? So I have it on my screen right now, actually.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, and turn it on, and I can show you right now, actually, because the footage that's running right now, I just have like B-roll basically, and this is actually a Nightmare Dungeon that has an on-death effect, which is called Death Pulse. So you kill an enemy and then they explode afterwards. So this applies to all enemies in this dungeon. You can see those explosions. So they actually really hurt if you stand in them, especially in like a big pack. So you have to defeat the pack and run away immediately. But outside of that, I have not really noticed like, you know, monsters that just like, you know, casually explode and one-shot you or something like that. So yeah, there's these spider hosts, okay, they pop as well. So, but you know them, right? You fight them a few times and you know the monsters, and there's nothing really that's what I would say like really caught me off guard, so to say.
Nice. How many times do you think you died in your testing?
Oh, quite a lot actually. But I mean, I was also trying a lot of stuff. So, you know, I was like, you know, on purpose, you know, I was like trying the Pinnacle boss, for example. I was trying to push really high on Nightmare Dungeons. So if you don't do that, if you don't like go out of your way to do like something extraordinarily difficult, I did die rarely. So in like general farming, like outdoor content, like never basically. And then dungeons, like Nightmare Dungeons, okay, it can happen that you get like comboed from like, you know, 3 elites or something. So that can happen if you're not careful.
Do you think it's easier to survive in a group?
Probably. I'm not sure if monsters actually get more damage in groups, if they just get more HP or something. I have not really done testing on that. But generally, if there's any kind of monster damage scaling, it's probably like lower than the general like health or like EHP increase that you're gonna have from the buffs. So I think it's gonna be easier to survive in groups.
Right. Awesome.
Is there damage scaling on the tiers, like on the torment? Like there is XP. Like maybe it works the same way. Like if it goes up by 200% torment, and then you have the group buff.
What do you mean exactly?
Like if it works the same way as XP would, with additive extra damage, if it applies. Like, is there a global buff to the torment?
I mean, the monsters just scale higher in general. I'm not really sure if they get like another multiplier on Torment or if it's just like the higher monster level. But basically, the monsters are like, it's like a level range. So, Nightmare is like 50 to 70, and then Torment is 70 plus. So that's just how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard like part of the reason why
Thanks, Funk Doctor, by the way.
higher tiers are so dangerous is the monster level difference because of how that interacts with the armor calculation, right?
Yeah, exactly. You get like a penalty when you're underleveled. We're not really sure about the exact formula, but it seems like that the more you're underleveled, the crazier it gets. And this is also why this tier 109 dungeon with like level 154 monsters is going to be really ridiculous, because you're underleveled by 54 levels and you can have an insane penalty. So, even if you have like a really tanky character, they get like burn right through your armor and you basically do no damage to them. So there's like a penalty in both directions, both your damage and your survivability.
Did you do any testing with armor versus health stacking, like at later tiers?
Yeah, maximum life is really good. I can recommend.
So maybe that becomes better over armor when the levels go up?
I guess generally you still want to stack armor and then just try to like scale it really high if you can. I'm not really sure if like how effective it is. It's like really hard to test this stuff in like little time.
Yeah.
But generally, at least when you have like there's like one aspect called disobedience. You might know it. It gives you like a stacking armor buff, which is what I used on my rogue for the most part as well, because I was using a dot build, and with dots it stacks up really fast. So this is like one way to get a lot of armor, and this is probably a way to have enough armor against these high level monsters, basically, because I was overcapping on monsters of my level.
Well,
so
sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I'm just saying that at least if you have this aspect and you have like a dot build or anything that hits like many times, you need like the way this aspect works, you have to hit a lot. So you have to either produce like 10-20 hits per second, or mostly through dots. So this is definitely a way to get a lot of armor though, and can help you with the survivability. And then maximum life rolls, I tried to put them on my gear, and I had like some high level items. I had like over 1000 maximum life on like a ring and then on a chest piece and stuff. And just like 2-3 items actually gave me like plus 50, plus 80% EHP or so. So this was pretty impactful.
How about resistances? Because resistances, I think in this game they work. It's multiplicative. It's not additive, right?
Yes, exactly. Resistance are multiplicative, and they're generally really awful.
So
they're really bad.
Very good.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, if you want to like specialize against like a certain like elemental type. For example, like, you're fighting a hypothetical Uber boss that does not exist yet, I guess, that would have like only lightning damage and you can stack lightning res. In that case, it would be pretty good to have resistances, but generally resistances are actually not really a good stat. Like, there are other damage reduction stats that are just like more impactful.
Makes sense. I've heard a lot about this Pinnacle boss. Some people are saying nobody killed it. Other people are saying people were killing it in 10 seconds. What's the deal?
I absolutely believe the people that say 10 seconds. I did not kill it, so I tried it for like an hour or something like that. I did actually progress pretty far, but I was still underleveled as hell, so it was pretty tough. But yeah, someone like Rob, clearing a tier 109 dungeon, he absolutely killed that Pinnacle boss. Like, there's no question, I think.
Okay. All right. Steel, do you have more questions you want to ask?
Plenty. So, obviously we touched on it a bit earlier with the elixir, but just in general, how do you think, like, how much do you have to gather resources? Like, do you have to like not do a night message because you've ran out of a certain elixir or incense or anything like that? And furthermore, as a follow up to that, can you just get someone else to do it? Like, can you just get someone else to farm? What's the deal with that?
Okay, so number one. I mean, you get elixirs on the way. Like, if you do some side quests, sometimes they reward you with elixirs. Sometimes there's also like a rare chance of like elixirs just dropping from an elite, I noticed. It's just random elixirs. And I mean, you want to do the Renown grind early in your progression at some point, like after campaign or so. You do the Renown stuff, you're going to do a lot of outdoor stuff probably. You're just going to pick up some herbs here and there and stuff that you find. So I never really had trouble with like running out of elixirs. I had like so many elixirs that I just gathered from quests and from drops. They were not really the right ones, but at least I had something to pop all the time. So if you want to have like a specific elixir, you know, like the perfect one for your build, you know, the lucky hit elixir for your Sorg, or, you know, crit elixir for your rogue or something, those can be costly to craft for sure. At least the good ones. There's like multiple versions of them. But yeah, generally just like pop whatever you have and just go with that. And maybe if you do like some real pushing, let's say, like if you want to like push to 100 Nightmare Dungeon, then you're gonna use your big one.
Well, and what Steel said as well, though, is that something people can just trade us?
Oh yeah, you can trade elixirs, yes. So you can actually just like have your army of gatherers running around and
We
bring
would
your elixirs.
never. We would never.
Definitely will. That's why I want the race to be SSF. I hate it, but I will.
Kind of related to trading, actually. Rise was curious. Do you think there'll be do you think there'll be any economy related to things like elixirs or farming rare items, like that you can track aspects on? Like, do you think gold will serve a purpose in have an economy and all that?
Yeah, I think there will absolutely be an economy. It won't be in the game. It will be like third-party websites for sure, but there will be like rare items can be as good as legendaries, so there's no restrictions on like rare items that would make them worse. Initially, like from like open beta and stuff, we thought that this might be the case with like rare items always dropping 3 stats and legendaries always dropping 4 stats, so that, you know, there's a bit of a distinction and you have to like SSF your way for the best in slot gear. But that's actually not the case. So the rare items can have the same item power, and they also have 4 stats later. And for elixirs, I mean, I think elixirs are just going to be like some type of currency. So people that can't pay like 50 million gold for like a GG item, they might just offer you like, hey, 10 crit elixirs, let's go, or something like that. Right. And I mean, I would take that sometimes.
And is gold important?
Sorry?
You can go first, Card.
No, that's kind of related, probably.
Right. Talk to us about gold. Like, what do we need it for? How much do we need? And like, will we need to care about selling things?
Yes. So basically the way I did it, and I think it's like the best strat basically, is just like you salvage as much as you can in the early game, like when you're leveling, you know, 1 to 50 or something, 1 to 60. Just like salvage everything. Maybe whenever you need gold, you just start selling a bit, and then you sell as much as you can, or just everything basically later. Because as you go higher levels, the salvage stuff doesn't really increase anymore, but the gold value of items increases. So you just want to try to get the gold later, so to say. And yeah, you definitely want to have gold, especially if you want to like respec a little bit here and there. I mean, okay, if you also want to buy items from other people, I guess it's not so important in like a racing scenario, but in like an overall economy, where you know, let's say you play a season for a long time or something, you definitely want to stack up on gold so you can buy stuff from other people. So I think gold will be a quite valuable currency. For a race, I guess you kind of just ignore loot at some point, if you want to just race to 100 and just like not waste time on the loot and all that. But yeah, generally I was just picking up all the rares and just selling them all after a certain level.
Okay.
I have a related question to that, actually. You're talking about how obviously when you push 100, you want to stop picking stuff up as soon as possible. So how early did you find that your character would be ready to farm like 50, was it? Yeah, 50? Like the highest you can do for most efficient XP?
I mean, 50 shouldn't be hard, I think. Like, once you are around level 100 or close to it, I think a 50 will not be a big problem. Like, on my rogue, I was already, like, you know, running, like, up to, like, plus 10 tiers of what I should run, basically. Like, I was running, like, 40s or so when I was, like, level 80. So, you know, at that point, I should run 30s, maybe. And it was still fine, you know. It depends a bit on the build, how powerful you are. Like, my rogue felt relatively strong, so it might not be as easy for other builds or other classes. But it was fine to go a bit higher.
Okay, so the XP, in like, if you go beyond like plus 10 levels, that's not worth it. Like, I don't know how much the XP scales like beyond that.
Yeah, okay, so XP scales. I actually just like yesterday wrote the article on that. But yeah, so basically, yeah, the efficient, like the best ratio between like monster level and like XP efficiency, so to say, is if you are underleveled by 3 levels compared to the monster. So if you are level 80, you want to fight level 83 monsters, because you get up to 25% bonus XP for being underleveled, and then it caps out. And the only XP that you get more than that is the base value of the monster that increases with higher levels of the monster, which is quite minor later. So, for example, I mean, I don't know if these numbers are 100% accurate, but as an example, you fight, like, you're level 80, you fight an 83, you get plus 25%. And then if you're like level 80, you fight a 90, yeah, maybe get like plus 30% or maybe plus 35. You know, it goes up a little bit from there, but not very much, depending on like compared to the difficulty gain, basically, right? You just slow down and it gets harder, and in hardcore you might die. So you don't want to be under-leveled by too much.
Yeah, especially with the armor. Yeah.
If somebody dies, is there any way we have of catching them up?
Well, like, I mean, true catching up is gonna be tough, but you can boost people. Yeah, that's definitely have a big perk of party. Like, it will take a little while to kind of like get them at least to like level 50 or so, but in like half an hour or so, you can realistically get someone to 50, I'd say.
Wow.
It's pretty fast.
And we have to do the campaign, right, on the first character?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Is there a large portion, like, fuck, I don't know how to phrase this question. Like, do you have to do the entire campaign? Like, is there, like, can you cut corners in places?
You have to do the entire campaign, yes.
Right. Okay.
You also get the mount during the campaign. So you have to go to a certain step for the mount, and then you have the mount for like, I don't know, the rest of the campaign basically. And then you have to do the campaign so you can do the first capstone dungeon to unlock the higher difficulty.
But
Is there
the mount? Yeah. Like, is there a minimum? I don't know if you can ask that, but like, is there a minimum level for the mount? Do you need to be a certain level to be able to use it?
It's just, I think it's just based on the campaign progress. You have to finish a certain quest and then you got it. And you have it for all characters. So even if you make a new one, you will have your mount. You can skip the campaign if you have finished it, and you can start doing whatever you want.
Okay.
When you talked about
Thanks,
boosting
LPA.
somebody to level 50 in 30 minutes, is that outside of the campaign? Like, for example, say that I
Yeah,
die in the equivalent of Act 9 in PoE. Am I completely fucked and I just have to do everything on my own?
I think you're fucked, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No one died during the campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to finish the campaign at least without a death, else it's gonna be a struggle, yeah.
Monka.
Wait, how early can we get those revive potions?
Well, I mean, there's always
I think I
Task
need
Manager,
one.
so there's that. And
shit.
and the potions, I mean, as I said, I mean, you can kind of grind it out, but yeah, like there's like a certain material that just kind of drops from certain monsters, like rarely, and you just kind of like stack it up. Like, I don't really think it's like worth grinding those elixirs, just so you have a cheat death.
Yeah.
Right.
Can we can you kind of force the same, so when you're doing the sigils, do they always keep scaling up, or can you just keep running the same level if you want to?
Yeah, you do find a lot of sigils. So when you do like one nightmare dungeon, I guess you find something like on average maybe 2 new ones, and they are usually like around the level of what you're doing, sometimes a bit higher. So most of the time you can kind of like sustain it, or it like slowly moves you up basically, and you also level up slowly after a few runs, so you can go to the next tier. Yeah. So it seems like pretty straightforward.
Can you just stay in dungeons non-stop?
Yeah, in groups that will be quite easy actually, because I think that everyone finds sigils, even though only one guy opens. So it's not like in PoE where.
Wow.
Yeah, I think this is actually how it works. So it's not like in PoE where only one guy gets the map drops and stuff. So I think they definitely have to adopt the PoE system here. Very soon.
I'm sad to see why group play is
this is
very
a
good.
big deal for like XPing.
Yeah, especially because you can find like a bunch of the same dungeons, and you just like run them over and over, and then like you have like 10 sigils of the next one. You just go there once and then run them 10 times.
Drop? Do they just drop like in the whenever?
They drop in nightmare dungeons directly, so you have to do you get your
from
first
the boss
sigil.
or anything.
No, they just drop anywhere basically. So not every dungeon has a boss, and they just like drop on the way sometimes. I even found sigils from a chest. So.
Okay, and so the sigil will specify what dungeon you need to get to? Yes, sigil is for a specific dungeon. So it's very much like the PoE system, I would say, where you have like maps basically. So it's a certain tier, a certain dungeon, you go there. Yeah, the difference is you have to like physically actually go to the entrance.
Right.
Okay. So we need a person to get there for us as we're finishing one. And then we...
So you could actually do that, right? Oh my gosh.
Technically you could
Mafia.
You technically could like recruit people to kind of like stand at the entrance and then invite you, I guess. And you teleport to town, you teleport to
It would actually save a lot of time.
I'm just saying.
We'll do that.
Oh my gosh.
This is gonna be Mafia.
Yeah, this is why SSF is better. Oh yeah, do you have a list of like were there like are all dungeons kind of comparable, or is there like some that are like this is clearly better to farm for the 100 race, like you want to spam this dungeon?
Yeah, this is like pretty hard to do right now. Like I did not actually have enough time to really collect like a lot of data on this. I mean, I have like some footage and I ran them all like a few times and stuff. I have a general idea and a gut feeling about dungeons, but generally I would say it doesn't matter too much. Some of them are a bit like more difficult, I would say, just because of the monster types. So this is probably more what I would focus on here, like the survivability of your characters in certain dungeons. Like some are just like filled with, you know, these ghosts and archers and they just blast you. And others are just more straightforward. But yeah, there are definitely better and worse dungeons, I would say.
Right. If you were going to set up a group with just the, like, because you're playing solo, right? But if you were going to have a group with the sole purpose of being the first group to 100, what would be your ideal group composition?
Phew. I have not really thought about it very much because of the solo prep. But I would say it would probably include both a barb and a druid because of the party buffs. And probably no necro, because necros are just like not mobile enough to really catch up with everyone, I think. Yeah, and then you have like maybe a second barb or so, or maybe a rogue. Like the thing is that you can actually do like some really cool combo with rogues. You can do like one penetrating shot, one rapid fire rogue, for example, as DPS, and you have like some insane like AoE machine, and you have like one insane single target machine. So you can do stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely make a lot of things work, to be honest. Like, I'm not really sure what is like the ideal combo right now, so this remains to be seen, I guess, with like group metas. But
yeah, I was looking a little bit at it yesterday because we were thinking doing Karn on Barb, Nugiyen Druid, me and Steel both on Sork, with Steel being Frost for freezing, me being Meteor for stunning, and then it has like that node that's like, was it 30 or 40% more damage per ailment that they're affected by. So it's like 120% damage or something.
The ailment, yes.
Well, yeah, it's like immobilized, stun, and frozen.
There are ailments.
Well, little pro tip, you're talking about aspect of control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that...
Yeah, it's actually multiplicative of itself. So
yeah.
You want to put it on a two-handed weapon and then get 80, 80, 80 3 times. GG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why the Sorks won't suck in a group.
Yeah, I mean, okay, in a group, yeah, I can definitely see like Sorks really popping off, because if you actually apply all these different status effects, then yeah, they're gonna destroy for sure. And then you just need to figure out the boss damage somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, true.
Well, Ice Shot should have good boss damage.
I mean, in bosses, okay, I'm not really sure how like stagger works in groups. Like if stagger HP basically raises in a group, I think it does, but I'm not sure. If it doesn't, you can potentially just make like a stagger support and just like walk into the boss and like, you know, insta stagger it, and then you have all your buffs from the aspect of control and you just like melt the boss, right? So this might be something to explore.
Sork viable, copium. Sork viable.
It's a bit of copium, but on the other hand, Sork. Sorry.
No, it's just like don't Sork also has some of the best like just kind of AoE coverage.
Yeah, I think AoE wise, Sork is really good. Yeah, it's like I think the single target is a bigger problem. So,
but we can solve that.
I mean, how important is single target actually? Like, are the bosses actually that tanky? Like the Nightmare Dungeon bosses?
They're not like. I mean, they get tanky if you don't want to try to push, I guess. Because if you can't apply all these CCs, and especially on something like Sork, where you rely on aspect of control to be OP, and you suddenly can't actually get anything from it, and you know, you're gonna notice a huge difference on bosses. So you don't want to like slow down much on the bosses. You still want to have like some decent boss, I guess, some decent boss damage. I mean, so that you don't just like, you know, waste a minute or two on like a dungeon boss just because you don't have single target.
I'm just assuming like a build that just not like completely all in on clear, nothing else is still gonna be fine. It's still gonna do that like respectable.
Yeah. I mean, generally, I didn't have issues with dungeon bosses. Like on my rogue, I was like also mostly AoE focused, and well, I just had high damage in general with my setup. But I was killing those dungeon bosses in like, you know, 10 seconds or so, and I think that's a good time. So somewhere around that number, if you can get to like 10-20 seconds boss kill time, I think you're fine.
Even 20 seconds sounds long.
I heard a lot of people say that the endgame is basically a stun lock fiesta. That the enemies, if you're not immune to stun, you will just get stunned a lot.
Well, I mean, first of all, you can try to get good. Second, yeah, Unstoppable is pretty powerful. So, if you don't have Unstoppable and you don't know what you're up against, like if you don't have any idea of what the monsters actually do, then yeah, you might get blasted for sure. Like there are a lot of monsters that stun you, knock you down, and all that good stuff. Yeah. But yeah, you can also dodge them. I mean, there are ways to outplay them. You know, it's not just that you have to die in a stun lock.
That's such a rogue answer. Just don't get hit.
Just dodge.
Think about the necromancers, man. They can't move.
Yeah, on a necromancer, I mean, you probably want to have an evade charge ready, at some point. So.
Yeah, I was surprised. I actually did see some tier lists having Necro as S tier, but I saw a lot of as like Necro in C and D tier.
Well, Necros have like basically 1.5 really good builds. This is why, like, we also have like, I think you have on the max roll tier list, you have like a Necro, Endgame, Bone Spear, and S tier or something. It's just like very powerful. It has like a lot of like raw power, but yeah, it's like not super fast. So this is why it's there basically. So it does blast down those bosses, and you know it has no trouble killing stuff. But it's like the only build on Necro that really works, and everything else, like the blood builds in particular, seem quite weak. The Necros, the minions are very weak. So all this stuff doesn't really work. It's just like bone stuff that kind of works on Necro. But this one is actually relatively good.
For unique drop rates, I saw some people were saying they barely found any uniques, and then I saw other tweets saying they were sad because uniques were so common and people had 6 or 7 uniques drop by like level 60. Are they confusing it with legendaries, or what's the rarity like?
No, uniques are actually quite common. I didn't find all uniques, but I did find some of them multiple times, even at level 80 already. And it also seems like uniques generally drop never as normal. I think they always drop at least sacred, at least from all those I found. I haven't found a single one that was normal. They were generally pretty high item power, so most of the time they were pretty close to 800, which is like close to the max. I think 820 is the max. So
really?
I think they have a high chance of rolling high item power, and I also do drop relatively frequently. I noticed. I was surprised, but I think that each unique has like their own rarity basically. So it's probably a bit like the tier 1, tier 2 drops or something like in PoE, for example, where some are just like omega rare. Like, I have not heard of anyone like find a Harlequin crest, for example. Like, this is like a stuff that just doesn't exist.
Really? Wow.
This is like some headhunter level stuff.
That's
basically.
Good.
That's nice.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, every day I get linked like those theory crafted builds from my viewers or something. there's always a Shaco, of course. Every single time.
Nice. I noticed at BlizzCon when I played for the first time, there was a Stone of Jordan. Is there no Stone of Jordan in the game anymore?
I have not seen a Stone of Jordan, like neither in the game nor in Datamine, so this was probably some old thing.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming for sure, I guess. But
Sure.
Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
There's no
Steel, any more questions?
Yeah. So more to do with our specific like leveling strategy. How much do you think we should focus on Renown? Because obviously I know you get the 2 passive points. Like, do we want at least that in every region?
I would say, yeah, while racing, it might be a good idea to like not fully finish the Renown. But I think at the very least, you want the 2 skill points in the potion. So you can skip the Orbos because it does nothing. And yeah, you can consider skipping the Paragon. I mean, 20 Paragon points is not nothing, but it's also not like required to be strong enough, I think. But the skill points, I would say for sure you want to get that, and it's relatively fast. Just like exploration, waypoints in the altars already brings you like half the way there or something. Like you do a few dungeons, and that's basically it. I think to get like to Renown 3. It's not gonna be.
What if we completely split up and just did like 3 dungeons each in a region?
Yeah, I mean, if you do that split up strategy and it's not fixed, then yeah, it's gonna be real fast anyway. So in that case, it might be worth just like taking like an hour per region, like everyone just does like a few dungeons, and then you finish up with a few side quests, and that's about it, I guess. And you have like 5 Renown everywhere.
Like how long would it take you to get the last tier in a zone?
You mean solo blasting.
Yeah, actually blasting.
Yeah, solo blasting. I would expect something like 20 hours for like the full renown in all zones.
Wow.
Oof.
So it's definitely
you mean
quite...
You mean from the start, right?
Yeah, from like 1 to 5. Yeah, in all regions.
Well, let's say from passive points to the last one. Like if you had the passive points already.
I've had the passive points already.
Because you're gonna get the passive points.
Well, let me count. So you need 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, I believe. So it's like 1100. It's like a bit more than half of the total for the last 2 steps. So yeah, it's like it's 2000 total renown and 1100 for the last 2 steps. So
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's like a dungeon is 30, altar is 20, I believe, or 10. Yeah, 10, I believe. And then you have like side quest is 20. So you do definitely have to do some stuff. Yeah, but if you do this like split strategy, and let's say that an average dungeon is like, I don't know, 5 minutes, maybe 10 with walking and downtimes and stuff. Let's say 10 minutes, everyone does 6 dungeons, and you split that up, and in 1 hour you have like an entire zone completed, all dungeons. I mean, that's all of renown. So like 20 dungeons is like 600 already.
Is the amount of renown you need for the skill point the same in every act? Like it takes the same amount of time? Because in Act 1, I remember it was very quickly. You would just get it passively.
It's the same, yeah. Everywhere is the same, and everywhere you get the same renown. So it's just... The thing is that I think you cannot reach renown 5 with just dungeons and all the other stuff. Like, I think you have to do side quests, and the side quests are really bad. So that's the main reason to skip it. So side quests really slow it down.
Yeah. I remember testing XP because actually I had a question about this because I remember testing XP like in dungeons or with monsters and in quests. Quests looked very bad for XP, but I don't know if I was just wrong, but it looked like elites did not give that much more XP than say like a pack of monsters. Like if killing a pack of monster versus killing an elite would be like the same or like similar. It would be pretty similar.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know.
Okay, so I can give you some kind of general rule of thumb. So I've done some testing on this XP stuff. The biggest monsters, like like a bear or these like Ice Clan Maulers, the big guys with the 200 axe, the Goatman, and these kind of things, they are worth exactly half of an elite, and an elite is always worth the same, no matter what monster type. And the minions of elites are also always worth the same, no matter the monster type. And they are 60% off an elite. So sometimes you have packs of elites with minions, they are really valuable. A single elite is not really that valuable if you spend any kind of like time fighting it, basically. But if you just insta-blast them, it's definitely worth to kill elites. Like if you just kill them in like 1 or 2 seconds, then it's okay. But if sometimes you have like dungeons where you have like packs of elites, there's like 3, 4 elites in 1 pack, and they also have like 5 minions. You walk in, there's like the big XP explosion there. So that definitely exists, and it's really valuable in that case.
Okay,
so I think generally dungeons are faster than most of this stuff you can do otherwise for XP, because there's more elites, and it's just generally more density, I guess, and there's no other people like interfering and these kind of things.
Did you experiment with like logout macro, logging out, etc.?
I will never use logout macro. This is, there's like a PoE thing. I'm not going to use that here.
Yeah.
But you can log out, yes. So
not that you need one in this game, to be honest.
Would you ever log out?
Well, yeah, I would log out, I guess, under certain circumstances. Okay. If I like, if I like, whatever, if I'm impinged or something, and I don't have a scroll of escape and whatever, right? So the thing is that I'm not 100% sure if the logout is like safe. It seems relatively safe. So this is a big problem, I think, that I need to fix at some point.
Right.
But
is it a problem though?
Yeah,
I think it is. I don't think it fits in D4.
I mean, you are PoE guys. You're used to logout macro.
Oh, okay,
but
the way I see it.
But in Diablo, this has no place. Like D4 is a much more fair game in hardcore terms, so to say, than PoE. So
that's true.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to have it in D4. I think they should like.
And you already have tools, you have the Scroll of Escape, for example, right? So you can actually get out of a boss fight if you really can't beat it. You can get out of like a stun block or whatever, right? So you do have the option to do that, and you shouldn't have to log out on top of that. It's stupid.
I mean, it's not about like the gameplay part of it. Like the game is fair. The game felt very fair and hardcore. Like you can see yourself dying. Like you have options. You have time to react and get out of dodge. But it's mostly for like the usual game crashes, you get DC'd, and all this type of stuff. Like the fact that you don't die to this in Diablo is, it feels pretty good knowing that you will never die to things like this.
Yeah.
At least currently. But I agree. Like you don't normally you don't need that.
Honestly, I think they need to just find like some kind of middle ground. It's fine to have like DC protection, and this is originally also what they were going to do with the Scroll of Escape. So the Scroll of Escape was supposed to be like the DC protection. Like you find them, and they're like relatively rare. But when you DC and you're like in combat, then it like auto triggers and it just puts you in town or something. But you can't do this like all the time, right? So you can't just abuse, like DCing yourself on purpose, basically, because the score is actually rare. Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I think the system made a lot of sense, but the way that the game currently works is you just log out and you're instantly gone, and the Scroll of Escape is not even doing its job. Like it's literally not working. Like I tried this extensively in the open beta and the server slam, and I also wrote like a huge list of problems with that whole system because it's so abusable. And I'm not sure if that's fixed or launched, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a lot better if you couldn't log out.
I mean, long term, I expect this to be fixed. Maybe they just didn't have time and they prioritize other stuff now and whatever. But yeah, right now, it's kind of sad, to be honest. So with hardcore, I think there's gonna be so many people that will, just abuse everything there is, basically. Like DCing, task manager, it's crazy what you can do. So you can literally revive your character with task manager. I don't know.
I don't think is that even true.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it on the server slam, in 2 weeks ago or something, or 3 weeks when it was.
I mean, didn't we do that?
We tested it, and if you saw yourself die,
people would die, and then they would come back in and be alive.
No,
exactly.
no. We would other players would see them die, but on their end, they didn't die.
If you got the death message, I didn't find a way back.
No, okay, I can literally show this right now. I made a video about this. Right? I think this was from open beta, this video, but I can show you 1 second. Yeah, but basically I was able to literally die on my screen, use Task Manager to kill my game, and I logged back in and my character was there. So
maybe that's when you're playing solo. Maybe it's different from when you're playing in a group.
Oh no, we also did it in 2-man. So I literally saw I tried this in 2-man with my fiance. We made a hardcore character and we went into a dungeon and she died. I saw the death message. I saw her dying and she just logged back in. She didn't use the task manager. I think she's alt F4 or something.
But did she see herself die though?
No, on her screen she wasn't dead, but on my screen she
exactly.
was.
That's what I'm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because we tested it, and if you don't see yourself die, you will not die. But if you die, you're dead, and you will not be revived. So that was a big difference. If you can't just see yourself die and be like, I died, I'm just gonna log. That's not gonna work. You need to log before you die. On your screen, if you're not dead, you're not dead. That's pretty much the rule that we've come to the conclusion.
Yeah, but the task manager stuff is still working. I tried it in Server Slam again with killing my game with task manager, and I was dead on my screen. And you're
okay. That worked. Okay.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, if you do it, if it's a perfect timing, you need to have really good timing. But if you do it, I think it's actually what I'm showing right now. I think here I did the task manager, and then there was on the other screen a task manager.
Yeah, that was the exact timing. That's the exact timing I found as well. It's if you fully see the ghost, then you're dead.
No, look, this is my character. Here, this is my character.
Can you show it again?
Oh, the ghost popped and he.
Look, there's the
ghost. But you don't have the message in the middle of the screen saying you are dead.
Okay.
If you wait for that, then you're dead.
Okay, if you wait for that, I guess that's too late. Yeah. But I mean, the problem with this is though that you just I know that people have already made programs that will automatically kill their game when they die because you just detect if the character is dead.
And then.
You can have a posthumous resurrection again, basically from the program.
Yeah, that's very lame. There's no point in playing hardcore.
Yeah, so this is if that actually works that way on launch, this whole race stuff is kind of sad anyway. So
yeah, it's very tainted.
I heard that even in softcore you don't have the cheat death elixir. Is that a thing? Is that true?
Yeah, softcore doesn't have it. Yeah. I remember, by the way, here on this dev that I'm just showing right now, I actually had a prediction because I was trying more and more risky things basically with trying to kill my character. I started with just DCing. I started with opening a VPN. I started with alt F4 when I was almost dead. Yeah, and it was like doing predictions every single time. I know that on this task manager one, like a lot of people lost a lot of points because everyone thought I was dead, but I wasn't there. It was great.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I hope that fixes. I feel like D4 doesn't need a logo macro at all.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I promise
you have so many things.
not to revive my character with task manager. Okay, I promise.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean it's stupid. Yeah.
I'm multi-4ing, that's it. If
I mean, I think it's fine to like, as long as they don't fix this logout timer, like, to maybe use that for now. But I would also really like to see that gone. Like if you log out, you should have the 10-second timer, and you can't just get out. Like anywhere. Like I mean, it's kind of stupid that you can just like log out instantly. In this game, I think it makes no sense.
I really like the scroll of escape thing, and even having it have like take half a second or something. And if you DC, it takes half a second.
Yeah, exactly.
I would not agree with that statement. That you need 10 seconds, but because the scroll of escape exists, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. The scroll of escape is exactly the solution to basically all of these problems. You just need to make it work properly, and then it's gonna be fine. So I really hope they're gonna do that.
Like, imagine how perfect it would be if scroll of escape takes 0.5 seconds to work, and it can work when you're stunned. Anything, it works if you DC anything, but there's no cheat death elixir and no cheat death on Sork. That would be so good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like I don't know why they started adding this elixir, man. It's so
weird. If you don't want to die, don't play hardcore.
Exactly. Like it's just like make hardcore back into softcore again. Like it's so stupid. I think.
What do you mean? I play hardcore, but I don't want to die.
No, that's fine. But like, it's very different than the PoE logo macro ends up being a like better balanced way to do it.
Yeah, Khan didn't pay attention earlier when I talked about getting good.
Yeah, that's interesting. How long do you think the race is going to take for first?
One session.
I mean, it's hard to say because I'm not really sure like how many really big blasters are actually going to be there and like trying it. I mean, you're going to be like some pretty organized team, and you're, some very experienced blasters. So I guess you actually have like really good chances to be some of the first. I'm not sure. It might be like 4 days, I'd say. 4 days is probably
100, so
some people are saying 30 hours.
That's no way. I'm thinking like less than 50.
I mean, okay. I mean, like 4 days, with breaks and sleep and stuff.
If you can actually just spam schedules and have other people running there, and there's no downtime.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if you do like all the shenanigans, then it can be faster for sure.
That's everything.
Like, the question is like, who's really going to be that organized, and actually have these people? It's not going to be many. And even if you do that,
needs to be one.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, yeah. Even if you do that, then someone might rip on the way or something, and suddenly your combo falls apart and stuff. So there's also that risk, I guess.
Sure.
I guess it can be faster, like for 4 days. I mean, 4 days is like my solo expectation, I guess. Like I was saying, like I'm gonna do it in 4 days. I guess for groups, maybe I'm talking about like maybe you can even do it with one time sleeping, and you do like 30 hour or something. That might work. Yeah.
That's why our main plan is to make sure Karn gets 100 because he can do 60-hour sessions, and like
exactly.
I can.
I like how you just throwing him on the bus. It's like, Karn he's just gonna play for 60 hours. There it is.
I mean, if it's about just one of you reaching first, then I mean, just like let Khan finish it kind of, and there you go, right? So.
Yeah, I'm just doing 30. 30 is fine for me.
Yeah.
You'll wake up, I'll be 100, man. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I just want like the team to win. I literally cannot do 60 anymore. I'm too old.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how much I'll do. It's gonna depend how much adrenaline is in there. The goal depends on that.
I mean, it's even harder for Nugi. He's 47. Like I have no idea how he's so energetic.
Really?
Who's the fit guy here? Okay.
You are.
Young boy.
The stick guy.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah, Nugi's 47.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit! Yeah. Okay, nice.
Yeah, he went to high school with Ock. Actually, no, Ock is like 58 or something.
That's funny. Right, let's see. Steel, any more questions from your list?
Well, the only thing I've sort of left is regarding glyphs, because obviously none of us got to try glyphs because that was like an endgame system. So some of the questions people had were, when do glyphs start dropping? Are they easily accessible? Because obviously there's like 20 or so per class. So is it going to be hard to get the ones we want for our build? and just how does leveling them up work? I know you use nightmare sigils to level them up, but is it hard to get to 15 for the breakpoint where they get bigger?
Okay, so I didn't do too many nightmare dungeons, and I had 2 glyphs at 15 already at level 80, and I was working on a third one. So, and this was after doing like basically all the Renown stuff in all of the regions. Like I actually grinded out the entire Renown thing. And mostly with side quests and all that stuff. Like I started nightmare dungeons, like actual grinding, relatively late. At like maybe 75, I really started blasting nightmare dungeons. So I only did it for a few levels, and I already had 2 glyphs at 15 then at the end. So it wasn't too bad. You can like actually math out like how many tiers or like how many runs of each tier you need. So the total glyph XP to the max level is like 3,000, and I'm not sure, like 15 is like maybe like half of that, I guess, or so. Let's say 1,500 would be like the XP for a level 15 glyph, I guess.
Right.
And you get basically the tier of the dungeon that you're running times 2 as XP. So if you do like a tier 50 dungeon, you get like 100 XP. You do like 12 dungeons, you have, or like 15 dungeons, you have like a tier 15 glyph. It's not that crazy. So you can level them at least to 15 relatively easily, at least in the later tiers. So you don't want to do it on like, tier 10 or something. It's like really slow. But if you do like tier 30s, it's fine. So at that point, you kind of like start getting those glyphs XP like really fast.
Speaking of glyphs, yeah, go ahead, finish.
I was gonna say, does that mean you can level them up in lower tier? Like you don't actually have to. It's not like the D3 system with gems where you have to.
Yeah, you can do it in lower tiers, but it's just slower. Yeah, like
right.
I mean, technically, I guess if you want to be like super safe or something for some reason, you can do like exactly tier 20, which is like the highest tier of the sacred sigils. So they're like split between sacred and ancestral, which is corresponding to nightmare and torment difficulties. And the sacred sigils go until 20, which is like, yeah, basically level 70 monsters. And then it caps out there. And the sacred sigils are like way easier because they only have 2 negative affixes instead of 4, and they also like have more revives, and they're easier and stuff like that. So 20s is probably kind of okay to get glyph XP, but it still takes a while. So realistically, it's gonna like grind it out on your way to 100 in doing nightmare dungeons, like 40, 50, 60 or something, and you're gonna get glyph XP pretty fast.
What level are you when you finish the campaign?
You're relatively close to 50, I'd say. It depends on how much side combat you do. So you can kind of like just jump into nightmare difficulty, I guess, if you're strong enough. So even if you're a bit underleveled, like you do the capstone dungeon and then you go on nightmare and you can start getting the higher level dude. That's pretty good actually.
Okay. So like a full list of things we like need to do before we just start like the nightmare dungeon push. We need to finish the campaign. We need to get all the +2 skill points. And is that the main stuff that we need to do before we just start like grinding dungeons?
Yeah, I would say like a must-have are the skill points. So you want to do at least Renown 3, and then you can skip Renown 5. I think that's okay for a push to 100. And yeah, then it's basically 9 dungeons on there. But it just seems to be like the most efficient XP. So maybe there's gonna be other strategies that you can find. One thing I would recommend is like do like a Helltide here and there in between, at least at some point. Because you get like pretty valuable materials there, so you can roll your items. You might find like some really good loot on the way, and you can't roll it without doing Helltide. So you can like enchant it for another stat, for example.
Is there any benefit to PvP at all? Will help in the race?
I mean, you can kill the competition.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say.
So that's definitely one thing I will try. But no, but. Yeah. In like general terms, not really. I mean, you can farm the monsters in the PvP zone, and you can also farm gear there. There's like this special currency that you get from PvP can be used for gambling items, but it seems relatively slow, at least until the high levels. I think it's not really gonna be like a good source of items, I think. So probably no point really compared to.
Do players give XP? Do players give XP?
I don't know if players give XP actually. I've not tried.
You get
I could like some
XP easy.
I could like some guy. I didn't even know what it was or who it was. I guess just like walked past him.
I wanna be 99.9 and do have a duel to the death with the other guy.
Imagine if PvP is good XP, you get a whole new way of power leveling. You get your chat to just level up there, just be slaughtered. Like, I am ready card.
But I do have to say, it's kind of sad. There are some achievements actually in the game for killing others on hardcore. I think you get like a title and stuff. But it doesn't have a level requirement. I think it would be awesome if this was like a level 100 character you have to kill and you get a title. That'd be badass. But yeah, maybe.
Wow, that's funny.
I was wondering about the glyphs actually. Where do you get them and how often do they drop the rare glyphs?
Ah, yeah. Sorry, I didn't answer that earlier. You find them like on the way. They can like, I think they can just drop anywhere after you unlock paragons basically. And I had them all at level 80 already, so they kind of like just you acquire them on the way.
Well, like literally anywhere overworld dungeons, like doesn't matter. Just monsters.
I think so, yeah. I don't think you have to do anything special for them.
Okay.
Nice.
What about mounts?
Yeah, mounts is from the campaign.
Yeah, but like, would you rush the mount? Would you like level up fast to get the mount, or would you just get it when it's there? Is there any benefit?
I would say, yeah, I mean, the mount definitely helps speed things up a little bit, especially if you like, you know, this like split strategy and go around all the world, you know, someone goes to the stronghold, someone goes to this dungeon, you get the waypoints here and there. So, you know, this is like some stuff you definitely want to do, and you want to do it efficiently in the team early on, I guess. So the mount helps, right. But I mean, you're going to be rushing the campaign anyway. So this is like, you're not going to stop anywhere along the way, really. Besides maybe doing like 1 or 2 dungeons here for a codex power, I guess. So yeah, this is probably what you're going for, you know, just like unlock your most important power and then just blast the campaign.
How important are the Lilith statues?
You should definitely collect them. And I mean, there are maps already out there, so you just like probably go around at some point and collect them all. Yeah. Really? We have the entire map of all the altars.
What if that's like the first thing you do? Like just make like a route and get all the Lilith altars?
You can definitely like do it very early, I would say, yeah. Like basically as you go around the zones, you know, like maybe when you do a Renown stuff in that zone anyway, just like pick up the altars. They don't really like have like an immediate benefit, so to say. Like the stats kind of like very slowly stack up, and yeah, they just help you out with like, you know, a bit more resource, a bit more damage, whatever, right? And then like for the paragons later, you'll have like an easier time reaching those stat thresholds for a bit of a boost. It's not really like crazy to have the altars, but they give you also Renown, so it's kind of like part of the Renown grind, I would say, just like pick up the altars.
I mean, that's why I was thinking that maybe it's not worth it. You would, at least in my mind, I would just grab the altars that are on my way that I can find, like without having to go out of my way to get them. And because
yeah, exactly. Like I'll grab them those that you're like close by. Like if you have the map open on the other screen or something, it's like always look around when you go to like new area, just pick them up where you are and do your other thing that you wanted to do anyway.
Yeah.
So this is probably what I would recommend. There's only one thing. There are 4 altars that actually give Paragon points, so you definitely want those. You get +4 Paragon points, so you can just pick them up. They're all actually like very, very near to each other in dry steps. So something to check out.
Okay.
What about swapping between world tiers? Are you doing the entire campaign on World Tier 1 on hardcore? Like, is there a benefit to being higher early?
Well, the benefit of going veteran is just that you are generally higher level, I guess, once you finish the campaign. So you don't have to do like as much like side content to potentially gear up or something. Probably I will switch between 1 and 2 myself. So I'll probably start on 1, and then whenever I have like a huge power spike, I will switch to 2. I think this is probably the strat. Like when I played now, I did everything on World Tier 2, which was, you know, still relatively easy. Like it wasn't like crazy or so at my rogue. So rogue also had, yeah, I mean on my rogue I also had the aspects. Like I have like my main aspect very early in the progression. At level 15 or so, you can get it for like Twisting Blades, that the build I'm gonna run. And yeah, from that point, it was actually relatively smooth. But again, this depends on the builds and like how strong you feel, especially against bosses. So if you don't feel you have boss damage early on, you should probably go on 1.
Okay. How are respec costs?
Actually, not really such a problem, I gotta say. So Yeah, everyone was like so concerned, like, you know, respecking or it's gonna be crazy and stuff. But actually not really. So at least on 80, I mean, I guess the income doesn't really speed up anymore at that point. And the gold cost of respecking will speed up, and you potentially have to unspec more points as well. So it will definitely get costly, especially towards the 100 to do respecs. But it's mostly about paragons. If you have like a paragon setup that is like relatively universal, I guess, then you are totally fine. Just respecking a few points in there, changing a skill or two, and all that stuff is like nothing. It's the paragons that will really be costly if you want to do like a full build respec to something else. If you have to like adjust the entire board to like 200 points, then it's going to be a hefty cost. But
so you can change the boards then,
yeah, you can change the boards. Yeah, of course you can like adjust them as well. It's like point by point. It's just the same thing as on the skill tree. But yeah, you don't want to do respecs too often, at least on like a major respecs, I guess. But it was still fine. Like I was able to swap my builds a lot. I played like 10 different builds, and I still had like 15 million gold at the end, like trying out a bunch of stuff at level 80. So I was fine on that end, but I did not really switch my paragons around all the time. So this is like the one thing I avoided doing, and I was fine.
Oh, okay. Any other questions from anyone?
That's actually everything on the list, to be honest with you. maybe some people from chat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we could take questions from people.
Chat.
I feel like we've learned a lot.
Yeah, you popped off, wudijo. You just like.
Actually,
you know?
Yeah.
Can you, if you complete the side quest, for example, if you complete the side quest, does everybody get the completion?
I don't know about side quests actually.
Like main quest, for example, like I'm assuming like what was it you said? No, main quest is fine, right? Because you just get teleported there, right? But the side quest, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like the main quest you have to do mostly together, so I'm not 100% sure how that works. If you can like skip out on some steps and come back later and actually get a completion. For side quests, I think you just have to like kind of do it yourself together. Like I think you have to all go together. I'm not 100% sure. I've not actually tried that.
No, okay.
Are glyphs able to be leveled up while they're in use?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. How are treasure goblins?
They're pretty good, I think. So if you find them, you just like try to hunt them down. At least if you can kill them easily. You gotta be careful, you know, butcher might be around the corner and stuff. But outdoor zones, yeah, just like go for them, and generally they drop something good.
Are there any
teleported? Oh, sorry.
Were there any immunities on monsters?
No.
Nugi, carry on. Sorry.
Can you teleport into a room of goblins?
I know that rooms of goblins exist in cellars, but it's like a really rare thing. I've actually not seen it.
Oh.
So.
But like, can you know before you trigger them and just teleport people in?
I'm not sure. Like, I guess you can see it on the map and before you engage, and you can see like the little icon of the goblin. So I guess technically you can like, you know, invite people and then do them together. That should probably work. So if you want to like recruit even more people for your army, you can like recruit like another 100 people that run around and just like spam cellars until they find goblins. Go ahead.
That's so smart.
Yeah. Yeah, the hardcore race is gonna be very fun, guys. Trust me.
More games need SSF for group found. I love the RuneScape group found. It's like the best thing ever.
Yeah, I wish it was SFO group found.
I mean, on one hand, you know, it's kind of cool that you can do some shenanigans like this, but in any kind of like competitive sense, it's obviously pretty awful with all these advantages that you have. So I think that at least like on a competitive side, it doesn't actually have to be like a full SSF mode. It just needs to be like something like, you know, you like voluntarily do not group, you do not trade, and you know, something like that would already work, right? As like a check mark or whatever, like or like some kind of like a tag or, you know, something. Even though you have other people running around in the open world, right? There's just like random people that you see sometimes. So they don't have to make like an SSF server, but something would be nice for sure.
Yeah, you could just do like solo hardcore.
Yeah, exactly.
Unofficial season 1 leaderboard. Let's go.
Yeah.
No, just like a mod where you cannot group. That's it. That would be.
Yeah, exactly. If you cannot group, I'm not sure if you can actually trade with someone who's not in a group. So maybe cannot group would already solve the trading problem too at the same time. Because I think trading would also be like relatively impactful, you know, like you can just like, you know, feed someone with all the elixirs and all the good loot and all that. So
if you kill somebody in PvP, can you loot them?
I don't think so. I've not tried it, but I don't think there's
I mean,
any
oh
stopping.
God.
You'd have to be hardcore to check that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
so
think so
I
though.
can-
I'll be surprised.
I mean, maybe he's dead, so it doesn't this year.
Hey, Badfish, by the way.
He doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah, so I would be surprised. That'd be cool. I wish. I hope that worked that way.
Yeah, but that would be trading.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
See, do we have any more questions from chat?
I just had something I wanted to say, but I forgot it now because he changed topics.
Oops.
Unlucky.
Yeah. Now the wisdom is forever lost, I guess.
Oh, how significant is the XP gain from completing dungeons relative to the time to kill the boss? Like, is it worth skipping the boss?
No. I mean, you don't really do nightmare dungeons just to grind. Sorry, you don't really do normal dungeons just to grind. Like you want to always work on renown, for example, and that kind of stuff. So of course you could potentially get more XP faster if you just like grind the best dungeon over and over and stuff. But realistically, you do a renown stuff and then you go nightmare dungeons. And the nightmare dungeons you have to finish the boss, else you don't get the reward at the end. Like, I guess technically if it's all about
What's the
XP.
reward?
Yeah, the reward is a glyph. It has an XP bonus at the end, and also you get a glyph, right? I guess technically, if you don't need a glyph leveled anymore and that stuff, then you could try to skip it, but it sounds like not really like a realistic scenario.
Right.
So.
I mean, that would be every glyph level 15. You don't need to level it further, maybe.
Yeah, I think this would only be a case of like you have absolutely no boss damage at all, and then okay, maybe you skip those dungeons that have bosses as much as you can, and if you are forced to run it, then you just like skip the boss there. So maybe that could kind of work if you have like some super OP build, but it just can't kill bosses. Maybe I can see that, but realistically, not really. I think people's generally gonna try to have a bit of single target damage and actually just finish it.
So like if you're a Quinn build.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Quinn, then okay, maybe you can consider that. Yeah.
If one person in the group dies and we do the boosting thing, I guess it's beneficial just for one person in the group to do the boosting, and the others just to keep doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah. Yes, I think only one guy is fine. Like, it's not that hard to like just like take someone and like get them through the capstone dungeons, and like at least like depending on what level you are. If you're like level 80 plus already, then one guy can easily carry it, and it's gonna be fun.
So it's just the capstone dungeons to boost?
Yeah, realistically, yes. So you do the capstone dungeons, and you're gonna get a lot of XP there. So after the capstone dungeons, you're already like, I don't know, probably 20, 30, like in like a matter of like 10 minutes or something. And then you can just like run them through a few dungeons, and yeah. But in hardcore, you gotta be careful though, because the monsters will one-shot you on a low level. So you have to like kind of like make sure that you do like a proper like clear of the area, and then the other guy follows you around a little bit off screen and stuff. So it's not gonna be like as easy to boost someone on hardcore, I guess. But if you're careful, it's probably doable.
Wasn't the XP global? Like if you're in the dungeon, you get the XP.
I need to remember now. We tested this, but
I feel like the answer is yes.
Actually, I think actually you might be able to just stand in the entrance. Yes, and I think it's just a party bonus that disappears.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's a party bonus.
I remember we did this.
Yeah, and legendaries get teleported to you.
Yeah, exactly. So so boosting is pretty powerful, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. I think that might be it.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a solid 2 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite excited to see what you guys are gonna pull off, and if you're gonna be the first, or if there's like some other like unknown teams that just come out of nowhere and stuff. So I'm pretty sure there's also like a lot of like non-streamers that are just gonna like mega blast and have been preparing for this already. So it's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah, I'm very excited. That actually could happen. Like, imagine all of us died to the same thing. We're just like, oh, are there global messages when somebody dies on hardcore?
No, I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know if they have like this PoE system. It would be really cool actually if they have like the shout out. Like
that's my favorite thing.
Yeah,
I love
it's really cool actually. It's really cool. Yeah, they should have that for sure.
Yeah.
We need naming lights.
Naming lights, exactly. That would be amazing, man. Like, if it's not in launch, man, they have to introduce that in season 1 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe when they do leaderboards.
Yeah. But it would be so cool to just like, get like a shout out, you know, like, okay, this is the first person, you know, reached level 60, reached level 70, and then this guy died at level 74, and it's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, it's half the reason to play.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody in chat, let's give a big applause to wudijo. Thanks so much, dude. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time to talk to us. Do you want to give yourself a shout out for people that want to see more of your content and all the stuff you're going to be putting out until release?
Yeah, like I was working on a lot of YouTube videos today. I've released like 10 videos today alone, and now until 10 hours from now, I'm gonna be releasing even more videos. And of course, you know, yeah, I'm gonna be blasting. I'm gonna be racing as well on hardcore, but of course with like the little caveat that I've played. So let's see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Nugi, do you want to say where people can find you?
Nugiyen on Twitch and YouTube when I'll finally make some content. But yeah,
nice.
It's Nugiyen.
Yeah, I mean, it's Twitch Karn_, Karn Direct on Twitter, and I'm gonna be spinning.
When are you renaming to just Bone Zone?
No, I'm not listening to your ChatGPT thing. Okay, I'm not doing that.
Steel, what about you?
You can find me walking the streets of Belfast at 2 a.m. with my good friend Zizaran. Also on Twitch TV, Steelmage.
Please don't find us at 2 a.m. That would scare the shit out of me.
It's true. Gonna go for a walk later?
Yeah. Like 3 hours, 4 hours. All right.
I'm keeping out of that. Holy.
All right. Well, we'll end it there. Thanks for everyone watching on YouTube. Thanks for everybody watching on Twitch. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Try to die less than we do.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, good luck.
All right, perfect. All right, thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see it. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to watch anything because you know I'm gonna be sleep deprived as everyone else here. But yeah,
I remember the question actually.
What was it?
I remember the question because there's like some items and some legendary powers that, for example, like yes, it's Thorns, but is that the question? Because there's like a legendary aspect that gives you Thorn while berserking, for example, and it's a value that's variable. I don't know. Does it vary on the level, on the item power, or your level? That's what I don't know. I don't know if it scales with your level, if it just when you drop it. Then
okay, that's what I mean. Yeah, some of them scale with your level and some with the item power. So I have not really identified the exact system there on these kind of things.
Okay, because there's like some items that have
the flat values, they work a little bit weird. Like I also noticed, for example, when you upgrade on the blacksmith, it increases the ranges, like the minimum and maximum ranges, but it does not actually increase the value sometimes and that kind of stuff. So it's very strange. So
oh yeah. I've had that sometimes when you upgrade an item and the stat like literally triples because it goes from a low roll to a high roll.
I mean that as well. Yeah, that is like the other thing with like the blacksmith like shenanigans you can do. But just like for these like flat value affix, I also tried some stuff like upgrading a flat value like legendary item and then extracting it and then putting on another one and upgrading it again. But I don't think it can double dip on the upgrades. So it kind of like resets it to some value and then you upgrade it again or something. So I'm not exactly sure how that went.
It was weird. I couldn't figure out either like something consistent. Yeah.
Oh, I saw a question in chat I actually really want to ask. Nash fan said, did you guys ask wudijo if you still would have played early access if you knew it would disqualify her for the Lilith statue race?
I mean, it's kind of strange because, you know, like we had the early access and there was, you know, no mention of this race or anything like that, right? And then like afterwards they just disqualified us. I mean, I had already said before they disqualified us that I'm not gonna claim it basically. Yeah. So on one hand, you know, I would have really liked to have to release and race and you know all that stuff, like try to get world first and these things. But on the other hand, you know, just playing the early access is probably like more important, you know, to make the guides, to, you know, help people out, have a better understanding of the game, and just like, you know, like there's gonna be a lot of people that will just ask me like 1,000 questions every single day, and you know that it helps a lot more people, I think. So this is a bigger reason, I think. And we can still have races, you know, we can have our own races. We can make our own SSF races if we want to, right? We can.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, maybe 2 weeks in, 2 weeks
exactly,
into SSF race.
Exactly, like we can do this kind of stuff, and I actually have plans for these kind of things, and I guess maybe someone like you do too as well, right? So that would definitely be cool to make these kind of like community competitions as well. And you can always do that, right? So it's just like the launch thing, and I'm gonna be racing 1,000 times. You know, I can skip one race, even though it's like the kind of like the big one at the launch. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've actually asked them. I'm begging for them to give a dueling feature so I can do a PvP tournament.
Yeah, dueling would be great, for sure. Like, you know, just like go somewhere in town and just like have like a 1v1. I mean, that would be kind of fun for sure. Like, I'm not really sure, like,
to the death.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure like how like PvP like kind of tournaments would work at all, because like it's gonna be kind of hard to actually get people into the same instance of a zone and stuff like that, right? So in general, I don't think it will be that easy to actually like, yeah, fight the right people that you want to without anyone interfering. So we'll see.
I mean, the ideal scenario would be if you could just make a group of 4 people and then duel within that group and duel to the death.
Yeah, there could be some like, I mean, it is free for all basically, right? And if you have a team, then I guess you are a team together in that free for all zone. And
That'd be so cool too. Group duels. Oh,
yeah,
so much fun.
Yeah, I was also like, one thing I had on my mind was that at the end of a season, you know, whenever it's like the last day or something on hardcore, it's just like, you know, the last man standing tournament. You know, everyone goes there.
Yes.
So that's gonna be glorious.
I love that idea. Definitely down. I will be there. See how many airs you can end up with before the season ends.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, collect all the ears in a stash. That's gonna be great.
I mean, I think that's like the main end game for me, like PvP. That sounds so fun.
I mean, I hope it's good. I hope it's good, so we can actually, because otherwise, yeah, that would be the thing you do. Just make characters for PvP.
I still had Druid versus Rogue though, and the Druid was just perma-stunning the Rogue. The Rogue couldn't move or do anything. The Druid was just like, okay, you're dead now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think PvP, it's gonna be probably like more similar to like D2 PvP, right? Where like it's just like just don't get hit and then try to get like land like one hit, and it's gonna be like probably like very fast paced, and it's all about like who has the first strike, so to say. I think this is probably how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we'll see. I mean, maybe you can actually make a character tanky enough, and it's gonna be a bit of a back and forth. But on the other hand, it's like very easy to kind of like miss the mark, and then like people just don't die at all. So yeah, I guess realistically, it's better if people actually get one shot than it is, and they're just like invincible.
Yeah, true. Awesome.
But yeah, we'll see, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. That was super fun. We have a lot of planning to do. It's gonna be an interesting race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend all night planning this.
It's gonna be hard like planning with like thousands of people. Holy. Wait, hold on. Are we still live?
Yeah, I guess you have to retreat and, you know, just like make the route and everything, I guess, right? Like, check the map and check where.
The boys and
yeah.
Yeah, we can have like a sign up sheet.
As a PoE Mafia coming to Diablo.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, like if you're like actually like staying there on like hardcore, I mean, we can also just like, you know, do some group stuff together at some point, right, after the race, and you know, maybe like do some pushing or whatever, right? So it can be kind of fun.
I think we'll definitely try to get like to do Nightmare 100 in hardcore for sure.
That'd be fun.
Like, maybe. Yeah.
Like it's gonna be a huge achievement, I think, to do 100 on hardcore. I think even on softcore is gonna be a pretty massive achievement for anything that's not a whirlwind barb. So we'll see.
I mean, that'll be the second race, right? First race to 100 and the second race to 100.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think that the race doesn't end.
Yeah. First session 100, second session Nightmare 100.
Okay. You sound like Havoc.
Yeah, that would definitely be something that Havoc would also do, I guess.
Yeah.
What is your typical uptime, Karen, for a PoE gauntlet?
Oh, it's like around 30 hours, like 30. In gauntlet it's less because, you know, it's a bit rippy, but like 35 I'd say, yeah.
35.
Like
Nice.
this league, I did 58 at league start for 100.
Wait, you just did it in one go?
Yeah.
Yeah, they in one go.
You literally
damn.
did.
I started the league started, and I went to bed when I was 100.
Nice. Good league start.
Yeah, because league started.
It's
Wait, what
crazy.
is-
I've
what
never
is the
done more than
fastest-
40.
Yeah, what is the fastest solo 100 ever, actually?
I
Do
mean,
you know?
that's mine. Yeah,
Is that yours, actually?
Yeah. I mean, from
league start.
From league
I
start.
mean,
yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, obviously from play that. I mean, yeah, from league start, yes.
I played it's like
Much
hours.
quicker.
Played. I could have done it like 15 hours faster on played. Because I played different. Yeah, I could have done a lot faster.
Those are different patches too, where it was faster, did 100. They actually made it slower, did 100 because of Steelmage.
Aw.
It's true. This is your fault. It was at a like meetup in like Melbourne or something. I don't know. And Chris asked Steel like, "So how do you feel about the little 100 race?" And Steel was like, "Oh, I feel it's a little bit like too fast." So they made a patch where they were like, "Well, we talked to some of our endgame players, Steel, and then we made the race like 3 times slower."
Oh, nice. Good job, Steel. Yeah.
There is oh, hang on. Let's see if I can find it.
I mean, the same thing might happen here, honestly, right? So it's just like, oh, wait, people are like a tier 100 nightmare dungeon, like day 3 before early access is over. Like, what is going on?
You want to see proof that like what I was actually there at the meetup? I'll link it. That is me.
Who is this?
I
Who
saw
is
this
this?
picture. I didn't even realize. Let's see. I
Who is
can
this?
Holy.
try to throw it on screen.
I only just started. Well, I say recently. It's been like 4.5 years now.
Def
But
check.
this is like 10-year-old picture of me. This is 10 years ago or something. 9 years ago, maybe.
Boy.
Nice.
Wait, you have your tongue out. It's like you're bossing.
Yeah, so that is the meetup I talked to Chris at.
Nice. Did you also do a def check back then?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, he probably was. I mean, he's obviously the center of attention, so he's probably like,
It's kind of funny.
That's
Like,
funny.
what did you do there? Like, how come that you were there?
because I'm a nerd. Like I never ever go to the city because that's right in the heart of CBD, right? The heart of the city. I never go except for this one thing. I left my little hovel just for that one time. I even asked some of my real life friends to go, so I'm like, don't get stabbed or something.
That's
Nice.
fair. Awesome. All right. I don't know what to do now.
I mean, yeah, what to do? Gotta prepare, man. What do you mean?
We're theory crafting. What is this?
What do you mean?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of things to do, dude. What do
We
you
got
mean?
work. We got work.
Wait, okay, you
Yeah.
said, wait, I want to know actually. So you said you're gonna have 2 swords. Like, what are the builds exactly? 1 ice shards, and what is the other one?
Well, so I nothing's set in stone yet, but I was looking at doing meteor for the immobilize,
Yeah, so
and
you
then
could do-
fireball.
You could do like the arc clash thing. I was also looking at it. You didn't mention it, and chat was making fun of me because you didn't mention it. But there's like a Z DPS Sork that focuses on suction. You know, like the teleport, and then you get you can even get the teleport enchant with double evade. That does work, right? The double evade
Yeah,
on.
that should work, yeah, but I mean, you
Yeah.
have to get the chest for that first, right? It's a unique,
Mhm.
so it's gonna be quite
Yeah.
late potentially.
Yeah, like if we do get that, we could pivot into
Two
a Sork.
swords.
Yeah, so you could do some sort of super tanky Sork that focuses on applying ailments. Well, like, what did you call them, man? Status effects, whatever.
Elements.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
ailments works for the PoE guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, so he could focus on that and focus on actually grouping them together. But alternatively, in hindsight, maybe we should just split the dungeons, like split farm, because you do get XP. Like, so if 2 groups split within the same dungeon, you get XP throughout the whole dungeon, right?
Yeah, I mean, many dungeons cannot really be split farmed though. Like a lot of them are relatively like
Oh, linear.
yeah. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
super linear always. Like, you know, sometimes you can go like left and then right, and it's like a circle, and it's like it loops back together or something.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna have a lot of trouble with like kind of splitting up in a lot of dungeons.
Right.
And-
Well,
So I think that, you know, if you do like this Renown strat with like actually splitting up and this works, then this is probably like the better option there. Just like, you know, go to your own dungeon. You have like 1 player HP instead of like 4 player HP that you
Yeah.
have to deal with. and like you get a Renown super fast, and then just like go into the Nightmare Dungeon grind really fast. And I think in Nightmare Dungeons, it's probably not worth the split, because you probably rather like stick together and have it safer and go higher or something.
Yeah. Well, in that case, this is most likely going
to. If you think about it this way, if we can split and do it like 50% faster, you can just do a lower tier.
Yeah, I mean, that could also work, but you have to make sure that you're always below the monster level at least. So, you know, you always want to be under leveled.
Yeah. Well, do you though? If it's only like if the XP bonus is not that big, and if going a little lower doesn't, you know.
I mean, it's 25%. That's pretty big.
Yeah, 25% is quite a lot, I think. So this is like the 25% is definitely what you want to have.
Depends on how much faster you could clear it. If you could essentially split into two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the difference between like, you know, being on the same level and being 3 levels under is like that large, you know.
Yeah.
It's more about like having going like 10 tiers higher, 10 levels higher or 20 levels higher, you know, then stuff really starts hurting you, and just the 3 levels is not that crazy. But so it's like very valuable. Right? Yeah, 3 levels.
3 levels for the so 3 levels, like, it's probably.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. So. Yeah. But it's the gain is a lot. So.
Does it keep going down like below? Like if you go 10 levels, like if you're 10 higher, do you just keep getting a higher and higher penalty?
Yeah, it goes down. So it's like minus 10% per level. I think. I think like at minus 10, I think you just don't get XP anymore. But I have not 100% verified.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. So it's really bad.
Yeah. So you can't farm any low level stuff really.
Yeah.
Actually, I was wondering about the. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
No, I just meant to say that the monsters actually always just scale with you anyway in outdoor zones. So you're expected to be able to defeat monsters of your own level. And this is usually not such a big problem. Like if you do like outdoor zones, it's usually quite easy compared to like Nightmare Dungeons. So, you know, there's like nothing, there's like no reason to actually farm lower level monsters, like go back to like Nightmare difficulty and farm lower monsters or something. Like there's no point in that. Unless somehow you really messed up and your entire gear is broken and your build's also scuffed and you just don't have any damage. So in that case, you might have to and get a bit of gold and fix it.
Yeah. Okay. My question was about uniques actually. Like, do you drop only uniques from your class?
Yeah, and like I mean, there's class-less uniques and basically anything that you can use.
Okay, that sucks.
Do you think the double sock thing is a bad idea, by the way?
Not necessarily. I mean, the thing is that an Ice Shard Sock definitely profits from having another Sock present for the double Frost Nova. I mean, this is a pretty huge buff to an Ice Shard Sock. And potentially, like, if you can, like, stagger bosses, like, if you have, like, some insane stagger setup with, like, you know, all the crowd controls, you walk in, you stagger the boss, you have the aspect of control. I mean, that can work relatively well, I think. I'm not really so sure about Meteor, though. So, even though they have the Immobilize, which is nice, you have the Burn, which is nice.
The delay, right?
Yeah, it's not just the delay. I think just the damage of Meteor is probably not good enough to really hold up. Maybe very late game when you actually solve your mana issues somehow, and you can just spam meteors all day long. It might be pretty good once you have like the full synergies and everything. But yeah, that was actually not proven yet, so I'm not 100% convinced of Meteor.
Yeah, we'll just have to work on Ziz's build then, I guess.
Yeah, I think Ice Shots is fine, and then something maybe you can explore is Ball Lightning. So that
Arclash build or.
You can do Arclash and like later transition into Ball Lightning. That works too, I guess. Like Arclash Hydra is just like solid, you know, like decent AoE, DPS, decent single target. It kind of works. And Ball Lightning, I think, has pretty high potential on the high end. Like once you have like your stuff together.
Okay. Do you think the Fireball enchant will be a good idea in the format? It should be, right? Like one of us running Fireball, all benefiting from it.
Yeah. I mean, you might actually just like run double Fireball enchant. like you kill one guy and the entire pack explodes, I guess. So,
right.
I mean, honestly, this is not a bad idea. If you don't need a second enchant to make your build work, this might be the way actually.
I'll keep that in mind. We were only gonna run one, but yeah, they stack, right? So
actually,
yeah, and then like this, actually, the split farming in dungeons might also work really well because it just like pops, you know.
I mean, we were talking about the other day. I was saying we could just have like each of us that is not Sork has his pocket Sork. It goes with him. If we have to split for any reason, we do 2-2 with one Sork.
Me and Ziz could actually run the same build. I don't know how cooked that would be. We just,
I mean,
because we both get
If you
the
find the right
thing.
uniques for some other builds, I mean, then we, you know, then you have.
I mean, I'm not really sure if
you have
there's
a
like
lot of options because you're 2 Sorks to find more enabling stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like most of the uniques on Sork are pretty trash, though. I think the chest is kind of nice.
Oh, really?
And I mean, you have like some fireball uniques, and then you have like an incinerate unique, and I don't know, they're all kind of I think.
Mm.
And what else is there actually? So like I don't know, like maybe I'm not remembering everything. Let me check. But yeah, generally like they don't really strike me. Like most uniques are not necessarily good. So they are sometimes very specialized, and you have to like really build around them to make kind of like use them at all. That's the thing about uniques. So yeah, there's like one charged bolts unique. I mean, crackling energy unique.
There's frostburns, which might be okay for staggering and stuff like that.
Frostburn is actually legit.
Really
I actually
good.
found Frostburn and I used it. Frostburn is legit, man. That's a good item actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some questions about stagger actually. So like spamming the same thing, because the Frostburn, right? That's the one that freezes. If you just keep freezing over and over again, does that generate a lot of stagger? Like I know you can't like refreeze, like eventually they become immune, but like for boss stagger.
Okay, so stagger, the way that stagger works is that you generally want to have different types of crowd control. You don't want to spam only one. So there is basically like a certain amount of stagger that applies depending on how long the CC that you would have applied actually lasts. So like a Frostburn is a 2-second freeze, so that applies, I don't know, let's say 15 stagger. And you have to like 250 stagger to stagger a boss. So you have to proc that like 15 times or something like that.
Right.
But there is like a kind of like a cooldown on each different type of CC. So you have to let it actually run its course, like of the original duration.
So is the cooldown the same as like an elite if you would have reached
no.
stagger
The
limit?
cooldown is basically the duration of the CC that you tried to apply to the boss. So like the 2-second freeze, like if you proc it every 2 seconds, it's perfect. But if you proc it like 2 times in a row in the same second, it gives you much less stagger. Right. It's like almost nothing. But you can apply other
like
CCs.
It's not so much. It's more like you just want to do the interval rather than the like to get it.
Yeah, exactly. You wanna apply it exactly whenever it's basically over, so to say.
Yeah.
And the real way to stagger a boss is to have a lot of different crowd controls. So you want to go in, you want to have daze, stun, taunt, freeze, everything basically at once. And this is how you like mega stagger it, because you can like apply all these like long CCs at the start, and they all have their full stagger duration and their full stagger like damage basically. So and then you can like reapply it if in case you need to actually stagger the boss fully. But I actually did like a showcase of this during the Source time. I did like a rogue, and I did exactly that. I had like a cold imbuement, I had like a stun on my shadow step, I had like some slow procs, I had like some daze, like smoke grenade, all that good stuff. And I walked in there and I just staggered the boss in like 5 seconds or something, because I literally just spammed all the crowd controls.
Well, you also I saw that you also did a lot. So do damage stagger as well, or is it only stagger damage that adds to the bar, or does damage apply as well? Because you already did a lot of damage to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just had like good gear, and like I was using twisting blades, which just has good damage. No, damage itself does not stagger.
Okay.
So, but yeah, for example, when you have the shout, like the challenging shout on Bob, I mean, Karn is definitely gonna run that. There's like a huge taunt that lasts like 8 seconds or something. Like that alone already staggers as hell. And I think there's also knockback on these shouts. Like if you like use like war cry.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask about this. Like if you do war cry, because it's gonna knock back the boss. So does that even stagger?
Yeah, like generally like these like triple shout barbs, they actually stagger bosses pretty fast, like just because of those shouts. Yeah. So if you combine this with like some immobilize and some freeze and all that, like you're probably gonna walk in and the boss is staggered like pretty quickly.
Is it unique to the player, or is it unique to the thing you apply? So like if one guy's taunted and then the other guy did as well?
Oh, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's probably unique to the effect and not to the player. So
yeah, okay.
At least that would make sense to me. I'm not sure about group stuff there, but I know this is how stagger generally works, and yeah, maybe you can like min-max around this a bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, staggering might actually be a real strategy for group play, for sure.
Yeah. because I saw someone as well who had, so there's a node or like a point teller or something. It applies slow every time you poison, right?
Yeah. Oh, no,
I think it's on Druid. And
Sorry?
Oh, actually, I have a question. Yeah, a question about this too.
And so the thing is, that slow always, like, it kept ticking for the same amount nonstop. It never, like, it seemed as if there was, I don't know if, because the duration was pretty long, but it kept ticking every half second.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I guess that it's some continuous effects, like just like have like a short duration, just keep ticking and keep adding a little bit to the stagger or something. Is that what I mean?
Yeah. It was like 0.5 per tick, but it never failed. It never didn't not tick.
Yeah, like I mean, basically dots generally tick like every half second in this game. So I guess if there's like a slow applied, through poison enemies, for example, in Druid, then yeah, I guess it just ticks every half second for like a tiny bit.
Nice.
Actually, I was wondering because what happens when you target is already slow, then you slow it? Does it consider you applying a CC or not? Because, like, for example, with for barbs, like, you have harm string that applies slows when you bleed, and I don't know how it works with the aspect of the umbral, the one that gives you resources.
I think
when
that depends on the source exactly. Like I've tried the umbral as well in various things, and sometimes it's like just resource goes brr, and other times it's not working. So I think that depends on what you exactly use to apply it. Maybe there's a general rule,
Rogue, right? Yeah, you had the experience on Rogue, right? So okay.
I have tried it also like in the open beta with other classes and stuff. I know that it does work with something like Blizzard, for example. Like when you use Blizzard and the Umbral, it's like crazy. But then there's like other effects. Like I think, for example, tornadoes. I think you apply the slow once and then you get Umbral resource, and then it doesn't give you more basically after the first hit or so. So I think there are like it's like a case by case basis maybe. I don't know.
I'm guessing it should be if you applied a different source then.
Yeah, I mean, if you apply a different CC, yeah.
Magnitude.
I mean, I played a lot with Umbral on some of my builds.
Oh, not a different source, sorry. Like for example, you apply a 12% slow instead of a 10%, then you're gonna get the resource. But if it's 10% slow and you apply another 10% slow, maybe it doesn't work. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be that each slow with like each individual slow instance, so to say, actually gives you another Umbral proc, depending on if it's like a different power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might work, but then you have to have two different slows, I guess. So I don't think there's anything that kind of like randomly gives you a different amount of slow, right? You need to have like an actual source of another slow or so.
Yeah, because on Barb it should be easy to test. It's like if you don't get more than if you don't proc it more than once, then that's it. You proc it only once or multiple times. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one.
Awesome. I'm excited. Yeah, he's being very cuddly. I think he's like kind of like committed to my wife being gone because normally he only like drools really hard when she's petting him, but now he started drooling really hard when I'm petting him. So he's like, she's dead now.
See, I think what he's trying to write build guides during this now. He's got work to do.
You got stuff to do until.
Yeah, we should probably let him go.
We can let him go.
It's fine. It was kind of like nice, like chilling here, like yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm also gonna I'm doing like very short streams like this entire week already. It's just I was like writing 12 hours a day or something, and now I was start recording videos 10 hours a day, and that's just how it goes right now. So
yeah,
and then. Yeah, we have to race. I'm not going to do anything, I guess, until level 100 or until I rip. Let's see what happens first.
Yeah.
Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah. It's going to be fun, man. I'm very excited for this. So I've been waiting for this for a long time. So,
It's crazy that it's tomorrow.
Yes.
24 hours now.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, you guys have been, comfortable in, the PoE space and stuff. And for me, I was blasting the free, and I saw the 4 announcement and all that, and I kind of had my my sights set on the target, and now it's actually tomorrow, what the hell.
It's there, dude. Yeah.
Yes, so it's definitely it's not like I didn't have fun with the free and all that, but you know, suddenly there's D4. You know, it's actually crazy.
That'd be crazy.
I mean, new game, fresh start, everything. It's always more exciting than you know, keep playing the same game.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, like, I mean, in 2 months, you're also gonna have like the big news of PoE 2 and all that, right? So it's gonna be pretty epic as well, I guess. But yeah, for now, I guess, you know, there's like this really nice downtime as well for the PoE crowd. So this is like the perfect time, basically, with the release now of D4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to play.
I really hope that long term they're gonna like have some nice, like, you know, back and forth basically with the seasons. That would be perfect. If like, you know, D4 and PoE are like, you know, kind of like the big players, and they just like have their 3-month seasons. And
yeah, I hope them overlap.
yeah, and then in between you have like maybe some other ARPGs that, you know, also fit in somewhere. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is how it's gonna go, honestly. So like, PoE is usually on schedule, right? And if they also stay on schedule here with their 3 months plans, then it should work out pretty well.
I hope so. As long as we get at least 1 month of each game, and then people who prefer one will do a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Can you give 2 subs and get 3 holes? I'm not sure if it's active already.
Beautiful.
All right. Yeah. No, we'll
Okay.
just let you go, and we'll start letting.
Are you like starting a fear card session right now?
I think so.
Yeah,
Alright.
I mean, right now.
Yes.
Right now. Yes,
Okay.
right now.
Log in.
Yes.
Go.
Yes,
Log in,
right
dude.
now.
Okay.
Right
Well then,
now.
yeah, good luck, guys, and yeah, have a good start tomorrow. And yeah, I'm very excited that maybe that, you know, in the next week or whatever, you know, we can like maybe also do some stuff together on hardcore. I mean, it's gonna be all.
Yeah, that'd be,
awesome.
yeah, for sure, dude. For sure.
Yeah,
That'd be really
PvP.
I was literally thinking that.
Okay,
Yeah.
1v1, yeah, let's go.
Uh,
Okay, count me. All right. Yeah, have a good one, guys.
Yes.
It was fun.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
see
much,
you
dude.
tonight.
Appreciate it.
yeah, good luck.
All right, I left the call. Let's go. Well, that was cool actually. So this was I gave them all a shout out earlier. I'm gonna just do it again. Nugiyen, Steel. Oops, Nugiyen again, because why not? Karn. And Ziz. Ziz was the host here. He's also like probably known to most people, I guess. He's like one of the biggest PoE creators. So they are all some big PoE boys that are gonna start hardcore tomorrow together. So that's gonna be fun. Let's see if I can race them. Especially after all the stuff I just told them, probably not, but yeah. It's gonna be fun.